I didn't have any brands. I was brandless. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go all in on this. And I found TikTok Shop. And I was like, this is wild.
The TikTok Shop is the biggest change in e-commerce in the past 10 years.
We're now giving the power to these creators now on TikTok Shop. Only way that they are incentivized is to sell your product. I saw that, oh my gosh, there's finally a win-win with creators and brands together. Like, we have creators in our high GMV creator network who have paid off their house this year.
Jordan West has taken brands from 0 to 6 figures on TikTok Shop in less than 30 days. He works with the most successful brands selling on TikTok, and TikTok has even added features to the platform because of him. There is no one that knows selling on TikTok better than Jordan.
If you're going to go into TikTok Shop, do not dip your toes. You cannot dip your toes.
Okay, and then ad commission is when they create content, but then you boost it.
Exactly. So the way that works is...
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Shopify 1% podcast. We're doing something for the very first time today. We are pushing this podcast live as we are recording it right now to our YouTube channel. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes or somewhere else, this is probably going to come out within a week or two because we publish it. We take out all of my ums and ahs and everything else.
And mine.
and my guests' ums and ahs. But if you're watching this live on YouTube, you're going to get some ums and ahs, but you're going to get the content before anyone else. And so this is a bit of an experiment. Hopefully this goes well with the YouTube Live. So hello to everyone watching on YouTube Live. Feel free to put any comments in there, questions. I may not be monitoring the questions while we're recording this, but we will definitely reply to anything post-recording. So because it stays up there as a video forever as well too. So with that, let's actually get into it because I'm super excited for today's episode because one of the most requested topics I've got from our listeners is around TikTok, selling through influencers, leveraging TikTok Shop. A lot of brands are seeing incredible success with it, and a lot of brands are just totally confused, and they think TikTok is just like Instagram, and they should just put up some content on there. What they don't realize that TikTok is transforming from a media company to a sales channel, and there's a lot happening. And so I have with me Jordan West. He's the founder and CEO of Social Commerce Club, and he's kind of at the forefront of a lot of things happening with TikTok. I've watched a few of your webinars and events that you've done, and I think one thing I appreciate about you is you're really pushing you're at the front of trends. And I think in commerce, there's always a point where, 10 years ago, you could kill it with Facebook ads. And that's kind of not the case anymore, right? I think right now, some brands are killing it with TikTok Shop. Maybe that won't be the case in 5 years. Who knows? Maybe it'll be even bigger in 5 years. But right now, brands that are taking advantage of it are seeing incredible success. And so there's kind of like this window of opportunity. So excited to dive into this with you today, Jordan. Jordan, give us a quick little background on who you are, just so our listeners at least have some context.
This is great. I think that's the longest that I haven't talked in a long time. I was
I could see you were just itching to go there. Yeah.
Okay, Jay, I'm ready to dive in. Yeah. For people who don't know me, my name is Jordan West. I owned a bunch of brands. I say 7, but I think it's actually 9. When I look back on my very first brand was a hoverboard brand. I was on Shopify way back in the day. I think it was 2013, 2014.
Like one of those ones that with the one wheel in the middle that you...
No, it was the 2-wheel ones.
Oh,
I was making content for these hoverboards, and I actually sold a lot of them. We did really, really well. But then I don't know, 1 in 5 of them would malfunction. And I was I don't want to do this. And I just didn't want to sell other people's products. I know there's probably some drop shippers listening to this. I'm just not that guy. I love having our own products. So from there, my wife and I started a baby clothing company, became one of the top baby clothing companies in Canada, really well known. We leveraged that to then just buy a bunch of brands down in the States and here in Canada. And we just kind of went for it. Through all of that, I had an agency that was just kind of sitting on the side. At the time, it was called Mindful Marketing. And when we exited our last brand last year, one went bankrupt, just so everyone knows. That does happen. I want everyone to feel like that's very normalized because I think in the next little while, especially our American friends, this is going to need to be very normalized. This happens. And sometimes it's factors that you have control over and sometimes it's not. Either way, it's let's just normalize failure, because that is a normal part of everything. I think it's what you do afterwards, right, that really matters. So anyway, exited one brand last year, had one brand go bankrupt, and I didn't have any brands. I was brandless, and I was like, I had the agency, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go all in on this. And I found TikTok Shop, and I was like, this is wild, because when we were, with our brands working with influencers, I hated it. The reason I hated it is because there was not very, there was just such a lack of transparency with what I was going to get. It was like, okay, so I'm going to pay you $1,000. You have 100,000 followers. What am I going to get? Right?
Mm-hmm.
You're just kind of paying, hoping. And what kind of post am I going to get? Are you going to actually talk about my product? Are you just going to be in a bikini and show my product up here? Like, nobody's looking at my product, just FYI. And so I could never understand how to actually work in a win-win sort of way with influencers. Affiliate models kind of work, but at the same time, affiliate tracking isn't great. And there's always this loss. And then you could do coupon code tracking. The problem with coupon code tracking is Honey then takes that coupon code and then serves it to people. So then you think that influencer's doing way better. So then TikTok Shop comes around, and my buddy Brock, he owns a company called Frost Buddy. He got a hold of me, and he's like, Jordan, we're going to do 500K this month on TikTok Shop. And I was like, what? TikTok Shop? I was like, isn't that just Meta Shops? And he's like, no. You have to check this out, because when Meta came out with their shop, I'm like, oh, great. Another place to check out. Who cares, right? It didn't really matter to me. Okay, so you can check out on social. And I thought that's what TikTok Shop was. And then when I realized what it actually was, that was when my mind was blown. And I'm like, how is every brand not hopping on this?
Mm-hmm. So you've said, I can't remember, I heard you say this, that the TikTok Shop is the biggest change in e-commerce in the past 10 years.
Absolutely.
So what makes it that significant and for Shopify, for e-commerce brands?
So the reason why it's such a big deal is that it goes from the previous way that we've done marketing, right? In this sort of one-to-many, brand-to-all sense, right? And what we're doing now, I call it the multi-level marketing of our day, right? We're now giving the power to these million plus, I think it's over 1 million creators now on TikTok Shop that are signed up for TikTok Shop. So basically the way that it works, right, is that you have creators on this side. And I don't like to call them influencers because they're not influencers, right? And I'll explain why in a minute. Yeah. So you have creators over here who are incentivized. The only way that they are incentivized is to sell your product, right? Mm-hmm. They're not incentivized in any other way. Very few of them will get retainers, right? You can kind of set retainer deals, but very few of them are incentivized in that sort of way. They are incentivized to sell a bunch of your product. So the kinds of creative that they're going to make and the sort of things that they're going to do are meant to sell your product. That is what they are trying to do at the end of the day, right? They are not trying to build themselves an audience versus I don't know if you know this, Jay, I do a lot of influencer work in the B2B space. I am so picky about the brands that come to me. I've rejected, 4 to 5 of the SaaS companies that have come to me recently because I'm like, I don't like your product, right? Mm-hmm. That's what an influencer has to do because the influencer has to keep their audience trusting them, right? At the end of the day, that's all that I have is trust. And so I'm very, very picky. These are not that. Creators are not that. Their goal is to sell your product.
Right.
And they do an incredible job at that. And so when I saw that and I saw that, oh my gosh, there's finally a win-win with creators and brands together. There's no other win-win that I can think of in the creator world, right? Affiliate marketing, again, tried to do it, but it just didn't work because it's not a closed ecosystem. But this being a closed ecosystem, it's incredible. We have creators in our high GMV creator network who have paid off their house this year. It's in 1 year. Wild how much they're making.
What is a typical percentage margin? What does a creator make? Does the brand set the rates that they take?
Totally. So on TikTok Shop, there's sort of 2 different ways that you can do this. So you can set an organic affiliate commission, and then you can set an ads-driven or affiliate commission. So we set 2 different commissions, obviously, right? So the first one that we're going to set is for organic, and we're going to give as much as humanly possible. Now, what brands do not realize, right? And this is classic human psychology. Brands will look, I'll be like, hey, why don't we offer 40%? They're like, 40%? That's astronomical. We can't do 40%. I'm like, So what is your break-even return on ad spend on Facebook ads? Oh, well, it's like 1.8.
Totally.
So you're willing to spend actually 60%.
Yeah.
60%, just remember. It's just that like numbers with people, like we all get fooled by that, right? If we don't just like think with our logical brain, because 40% sounds like so much. Well, that's a 2.5 return on ad spend. Great. I would take that all day long.
Yeah.
And so,
yeah.
so I like to tell them like, hey, if you can go with a 40% commission on organic at first, and then set that ad commission way down, like do like 10% on ad driven commission, right? Do something on ad driven commission. Because
okay, so let me like before you go on, because I have a couple questions. Okay, so ad commission. So organic it's when they create, when they drive the traffic themselves. It's their own audience. It's all them. You're not paying anything.
Yeah, all the algorithm.
You're paying,
and not their audience. That was actually a misspeak, because remember, these creators don't really have audiences. Like
no, TikTok finds the right people to show it to, right? Like it's not your followers. That's the whole beauty.
That's why they're not influencers, right? Because they don't really have much of a following. People aren't following. They're
just creating good content.
Yeah, because of the way that TikTok's algo works, it's just all content based, not follower based at all, right? Whereas Instagram still has the follower base, right? It still has follower, plus it's trying to get into the TikTok world, right? That's why. Yeah. So if their piece of content goes absolutely viral, right, they're going to make a ton of money organically.
Okay, and then ad commission is when they create the content, but then you boost it.
Exactly. So the way that works is that there's two different ways. They can either turn on, let every single one of these ads go into an ad campaign. That's really easy for us as an agency, for brands, right? Because what ends up happening, and as of July 15th, probably after this episode is actually out, all campaigns have to be using TikTok's AI campaign system, which is called GMV Max. What GMV Max does is it gathers all the content together, right? So any content that you're tagged in, it brings into the campaign and it puts ad spend behind that content. And so
interesting.
Yeah. So whatever your product has been tagged in, it will grab and put into that, trying to get you the best return. These are all target ROAS campaigns. And so the higher you set your target ROAS, the less of the budget that it's going to spend trying to get you to that target ROAS. So the lever that you have to pull is the more creative that you get out there and the more that you get tagged in it, the better. Now, I would say 50-50 right now. Creators have this auto tag feature on. The other 50% of the time as an agency, we have to go out and go get these Spark codes from the creators to then use in the campaigns. So our team, and that's a very manual sort of process. We use one tool called Reacher, which I love these guys. I've advised them for quite a while. They have a feature where you can just auto reach out to anyone who's tagged you and say, hey, can I get the Spark code? People are incentivized to give you the Spark code because they get paid on whatever affiliate commission is even run through ads.
Okay, so if someone tags your product or your brand in a post.
Just your product.
Just your product.
Yeah, it has to tag your product to your TikTok shop.
Gotcha. Okay, so then the new algorithm for the AI ads, can you pull in those reels and use them as UGC, user generated ads through your ad account?
That's exactly how it works. Yeah. And that is the only way that it works now, right? So when we think about how behind everybody is right now in Meta, it's the amount of accounts that I see whitelisting, I don't know, 1%.
Yeah.
It's the name of your podcast, right? It's the amount. TikTok has figured out that whitelisting is the only thing that works, right? It is the thing that actually drives everything. This is just a giant whitelisting campaign with a huge amount of influencer seeding. So that's why I'm so obsessed with this at Social Commerce Club.
Did you say that as of January 15th, you won't even be able to run your own content? It's only the AI driven ads pulled in, or you can still do both?
So there's no more manual campaigns for TikTok Shop specifically. So as of July 15th, now, except for we work with a lot of brands, they're called global key account brands at TikTok. These are brands that do 4 billion and above in multiple markets. So we work with a lot of those kind of brands. Those we have extra levers for. The average person listening to this does not have those levers, unfortunately. But I really believe that their system is getting that good. They have so much learning behind it. That's why they've decided to go to pure GMV Max. Now, you can get your own content on there, but you have to post it on your page and then tag it. So you can still do dark posts, right? I think we're all kind of familiar with that in like Facebook advertising world. You can still do dark posts.
Just explain it just so our listeners, dark posts, like posting through other accounts. That is it essentially like fudging user generated content?
No, that's not the way I'm using dark post. I'm actually using it as you post it to your account, but you leave it hidden. So there's still a post ID that it pulls.
Gotcha.
But it doesn't actually go into the organic algorithm. Again, we work with a lot of like really big, well-known brands who do not want to destroy their feed, right? They're very cognizant. Like if we're going to test 50 different videos in a day, they don't want 50 videos going out on their TikTok, right? But we have to post it through their brand handle. Now we could post it through other people's handles, but then we're going to be paying more organic commission. So the more videos that brands can get out there, the better, and the more angles and all of that. So they may not want to post it on their page. I recommend brands post 10 times a day on TikTok. It does not matter how many times you post. It is all that they care about is the amount of impressions that it's going to get out there and whether or not it has virality or not. They want you to post more. So so much so, in fact, that their algo right now is tuned. And the reason why I know that their algo is tuned, they have not told me this, but I always ask my TikTok people, I'm like, hey, what are your core KPIs right now? They're like, oh, the amount of videos that brands post on their own page is one of our big KPIs. We're trying to get people to do that more. I'm like, oh, awesome. I know that their algo is tuned to help brands do more of that.
Interesting. So obviously then the better. You reverse engineer that. Yeah.
Totally. Because tons of brands are still not even on TikTok. They just don't even know the TikTok muscle, which is crazy. It's like, this is the biggest top of funnel channel that there is out there right now. And the amount of brands that are not on just TikTok in general is wild, right? And so that's what TikTok is trying to do, is like get people on, similar to Facebook, right? Right now, the biggest opportunity is actually just post as a brand on Facebook. I remember back in the day, like you used to be able to get mad reach. We would get like tens of thousands of impressions on every post. And then their reach went down and down and down. Well, Facebook is back now being I would call it the second biggest opportunity right now, is like just post your videos on Facebook.
That's it. That's what we talked about at the intro, right? Okay, so let's go to the beginning here. Take a brand that's not even posting on TikTok. Now, let's start from the beginning. Like someone's like wants to get into this. I want to get into how they actually find creators, do this, but like, should you build up your profile first? Should you post a whole bunch of organic stuff first? Or if I have a store and I want to start selling on TikTok Live through creators, and I have 0 posts, I have 0 followers, I just created my TikTok account, am I going to have no social clout to like go and get creators to post it? Should I be product seeding and sending? Like you own a brand right now, Jordan West, and you don't have a TikTok presence. What are you doing?
Okay, so let me walk through my strategy here. I call it's a blitz strategy. So number one, if you have no followers on TikTok, you cannot open a shop. I believe you need somewhere around 1,000 or 2,000 minimum followers. So you need to go get those followers, right? So you can run an ad campaign to get followers.
Yes.
So just go do that.
Have a couple posts, boost the posts.
Exactly. Just go get those followers. That'll be really, really quick and really cheap. So make sure you get those. Creators don't care. They don't care about your page. They don't care about your brand. All that they care about is whether or not they can make money. Remember that, right? Like they, even like with huge brands that we work with, lots of creators are like, well, I don't know if we can sell it at that. I don't know if it's going to go for that. Why is the pricing more on TikTok than it is on other channels? Like all of these things, that's what the creators actually care about.
They're thinking like an owner. Selling. Yeah.
Totally. They're just thinking to themselves, like, they don't care about the brand association or anything like that. They're not building a following. They're just trying to make money. Right. And so this is how we start, and how I would recommend any brand. I'll use the number 50,000 just because I think that's a good number. Actually, let's use 100,000 just so it's easy. Now you can move that down if that's 10,000 for your brand, right? That you have to invest. Great. I'm going to use 100,000, and how we're going to use this $100,000 to launch. So at the beginning, and actually TikTok has some really good incentives for D2C brands right now. So if you're doing over $1 million right now, they actually have awesome incentives for you guys to come in. I think they give like a bunch of ad credit. They do white glove onboarding, all that kind of stuff. So I can send you a link after that they have to actually get that. But like they want D2C brands in. So this is good. I'm glad that we're having this combo. I am their mouthpiece here. They should give me something though, don't you think?
They should. let you hang out at their booth at Shop Talk the whole time there, right?
That's it. No, they give me all sorts of
Yeah.
cool things, just not money, like,
Right.
at the end of the day, like, just send me something cool. No, they'll give me a boat or a plane or something at some point.
One day.
Yeah. I'm playing the long game with TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's how I would start. So number one, I would identify my first 100 to 200 creators, right? So for us at the agency, it's really simple. We have a high GMV creator network, and we have creators that are in different industries and different verticals. And so we actually just identify them at first. For you, you're going to have to actually reach out to creators. And first of all, just identify who you're going to go after.
And how do you do that?
So use a tool. So you can either go into TikTok Shop Affiliate Center, right? And you can manually do this. That's going to take you hours.
Just scrolling through creators, finding ones that you like their content. There may be, I don't know, like if you sell beauty products, they're focused on beauty products. If they sell health and wellness or like that kind of okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can use a tool like Reacher. That's like the easiest. There's Reacher and Yuka are kind of the two big ones. Uptick is another one. I recommend Reacher just because I've advised them for so long and told them to build everything. I'm like, nah, we now need this. No, we need this. So anything that I've wanted, they've built because I've been their sort of like primary advisor.
Well, if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for our listeners.
Yeah, well, that's kind of my thought is unless people are seeing things that I'm not, but we work with a lot of brands. We see a lot of stuff out there. So, and also just, TikTok is building stuff for us all the time too. Like lots of the stuff that you guys see in GMV Max is from our team. We spend tens of millions of dollars on the platform. So they're like, oh, okay, we'll listen to them.
I've heard that from other people too, that they're extremely responsive to feature suggestions from agencies. Like you can't even get a hold of someone probably at Meta, but
it's crazy when you're in TikTok and you realize, and then you go back to Meta and you're like, oh yeah, we have no support whatsoever from them or like voice comparatively to TikTok. Yeah, it's wild. There's also their own like messaging platform. So like at any point I could just like go ask a question to one of my people and they'll like immediately get back to me, which is really great.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it still feels like a small team, which is funny.
Well, that's why
it's not. I was at their Seattle TikTok Shop's head office is in Seattle, and I was there recently, and it's a very big team. It's multiple floors, and it's really cool. So going back here, so we're going to identify the creators. We're going to use a tool like Reacher to identify the creators. Then,
sorry, just real quick on Reacher, does it actually find creators, or is it just a tool to automate reach outs? And
so it actually finds the creators too, and some really cool features that we've helped build into are like AI features. So they actually go and scrape these creators. So say it's not in like one of TikTok's categories. So let's say that we're looking for a very specific look of a creator, right? This was something, especially when you work with really big brands, they want very, very tight looks for their creators, right? Very difficult to do on TikTok Shop. So we actually got an AI to go and scrape that. And so you can actually now put in filters like that.
Like you might, if you sell a skincare product, you might actually be looking for someone that has acne, or if you sell plus size products, you want someone who's plus size or whatever, right? Like
exactly. And you can't find that on normal filters, right? And TikTok's not going to put that into their filters.
Yeah,
so
that's super interesting.
Yeah. So this AI actually goes and scrapes that and so that we can actually go and find those people, right?
Wow.
So now we reach out to, if we're trying to get, say, 200 creators, we're probably going to have to reach out to 2,000 of them. So you get, before any sales, you get 2,000 reach outs. And then you actually have to make sales on your store. So
that's right. And a reach out is just like DMing a creator.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going to do our first 2,000 reach outs, but this is the key here. And this is what I am preaching to everyone. Do not, if you're going to go into TikTok Shop, do not dip your toes. You cannot dip your toes. This isn't Facebook ads where you can be like, oh, I'm going to spend $50 a day. No. You cannot do that. You have to go and you have to go all out if you're going to do it. So whatever budget that is, just know you have to go all out. And this is the strategy that I've seen work time and time again now, I was going to say with any size budget. It's not with any size budget. You need to have like minimum $10,000 to do this budget.
Okay.
So we're going to reach out to our first 2,000 creators. We're looking to get 200 creators. Now, the reason why you're probably going to be able to get that is you're going to tell them a compelling story about this Blitz launch that you're going to do. Hey, we're new on TikTok. We're offering 40% commission. And we're doing something really interesting you probably haven't seen before. We're going to do a Blitz launch. So we don't want you to post as soon as you get the product. We want you to get 3 to 5 videos ready for the Blitz launch. And we're going to be putting, now of the 100,000, I would say we're going to be putting $70,000 in the first weekend into this launch. Are you with us? Right? We're going to be putting 70,000 in ad spend behind it. Right? And we're offering 40% commission. Well, it's pretty hard for them to say no to that, right? And they get to be a part of a fun event.
Yeah.
Right?
And just when the ads, is it driving to their specific content or like where are the ads driving to?
GMV Max is going to pull from all things that you're tagged in.
Okay. So anything they produce, as long as it's tagged, it's going to get amplified because of that ad spend.
Exactly. And they generally, ones that do well organically, they're going is going to do well as a paid ad. So that's why we tell them, we're like, post as many times as you can, because we're going to put a ton of ad spend behind it on this first weekend. Yeah. So what this does, it creates a flywheel, right? It creates this flywheel because now everyone is seeing them everywhere. They're like, oh my gosh, this brand is literally everywhere. And it's not just customers that are seeing it everywhere, right? It's also other creators that are seeing it everywhere. So these creators now are like, oh my gosh, this product is blowing up. I want to get on this product. And what will happen is some creators, they know what a viral product looks like, and they'll be like, oh, sweet. They'll actually go into a store and go buy that product if it's a retail product, or they'll go to their Shopify site or Amazon and just go buy the product because they can't wait for the sample, because they're like, I just want the product right away and I want to hop on this. That's how you launch on TikTok Shop. And a lot of brands, like, they'll come to us and we'll tell them about the split strategy. They're like, we just can't commit. We just want to kind of like slowly like try this out. I'm like, then don't. Because it's not a channel like that. It's not like an Amazon where you can just have your product there so that when people are searching, you're there.
Right.
It's not that.
You got to go. Yeah. Something I just thought of. So do you find creators, do they ever demand or in requests that, well, if I'm going to be a creator, you have to be doing at least X amount of ad spend towards it?
So yes. So bigger creators, yes. And this is actually something we help TikTok build out in GMV Max. So you can actually now allocate certain amounts of spend into those creators if you want.
Okay. And you can, I personally haven't sold through TikTok Shop, so I'm asking all the dumb questions here. So
that's great.
So you can, in your seller dashboard, a sale that came through an ad, a promoted click, pay a different commission versus one that did not come through through your ad spend.
Yes. And so TikTok takes care of all of that in the background. They take care of all of the payments to creators. They take care of everything for you. And then at the end of the day, you get what's left over deposited into your bank.
Gotcha. Now, what do you recommend in terms of, like, think of a product to sell here? I don't know. Let's think of something. A case, I got a hard drive on my desk. I'm looking at a hard drive, indestructible case, so I can drop my portable hard drive. Yeah. And I want to send that to creators. Do you give the creators talking points and tell them all the features and benefits, or do you just send it to them and let them figure it out themselves so it can be organic, where they're figuring it out? Like, what's the best process for that?
So the best thing to do is just to give them an overview. So remember, some of these creators will get like 100 products a week, right? So you want to make sure to set them up for success. They're not going to go and do research on your product. So give them the talking points first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And let them know, like, hey, here's kind of the big things people are talking about with this product. And then on the other side of this, let them be like, hey, but whatever you think to sell this product, we trust you. Here's a few examples of other videos that have gone viral, just so you have some examples. Gotcha.
Okay. What are, I mentioned kind of a few of these, but like, what are the biggest mistakes you see brands making when they hear, oh, TikTok Shop, everyone's making money on it, and they go, and what are the mistakes they're making?
The biggest mistake is being too picky with creators, right? So number one, not going all in. That's a huge one. Being too picky with creators is another one. Not spending money on ads is another one, right? Like, they'll just be like, oh, well, it should just be organic. I'm sending out 200 samples. And it's like, well, no, because if you don't spend money on ads, then creators don't want to post more. The other one too is not just taking advantage of the creators that already have your products, right? And sorry, a huge mistake is not getting them off the platform, right? So we use the Blitz Launch strategy to get them off platform into like WhatsApp or Discord. So that's another really big thing.
The conversation with the creators.
Exactly. Because we don't want the conversation to happen one-to-one over there. We want to have a community so that everyone's starting to share, hey, I just had this video go viral. Hey, do you want to like and comment on this video? Like we love to like build communities around every single brand.
So your creators, it's collaborative. They like helping each other.
Oh, they love it. Yes.
Even though they're kind of competing, but it's a sense of they're on the same team.
Totally, because they know that the products that go viral, they're all going to get something from.
Right. The better they all do, ultimately, then the more it boosts, and it's probably rising tide theory, right? Sinks rises all ships. Yeah.
Exactly.
So you create a Discord group or a Slack group, invite everyone in.
Yeah, WhatsApp is my number one recommendation right now.
Probably makes sense. That's more international too, right?
And you get notifications comparatively to like Discord and Slack. It's like, oh, another Slack group, right? Like another group.
I can sympathize with that. Yeah. Interesting. And then are you like nurturing this group and sending daily updates, and this person did this, and hey,
Absolutely.
John just sold 10,000 products.
People just doing that, just nurturing the group.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's essentially a role at an e-commerce company. That's
absolutely. Like treat these, like, remember, this is your ad spend, right? These people are your ad spend.
Right. Amazing. You mentioned once, oh, you're going up or down there?
Everyone.
Oh, there we go. Oh, okay. Jordan he is standing up, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm getting that excited about this.
This conversation has gone from a sitting desk to a standing desk. I love it. Okay. I want to touch more on the Amazon mistake, I guess, if you want to call it that. You said one time you've worked with brands that have crushed it on Amazon, but then just totally flopped on TikTok. And I imagine the same thing's true, like crushed it on Shopify or e-commerce, but then totally flopped. Why? What is the difference in maybe some of like the algorithmic differences and brand identity versus product identity? And can you touch on some of that?
Totally. So TikTok Shop is really like an amalgamation of both of these, right? Of Amazon and Shopify together, which I think is what makes it so hard. It's this brand new muscle that no one really has figured out yet. So Amazon, right, is inherently a demand capture channel, right? D2C is inherently, you have to be really good at demand gen, right? On D2C. But with D2C, we've been so spoiled with Facebook, right? Where it's like, I'll just throw Facebook ads up and it's just going to kind of work and that sort of thing. And most people just stay away from influencers or creators or any of that kind of stuff. This is like all of that, but then bring the influencer and the creator mix in.
Interesting.
Right?
Okay,
so brands just don't get it. Amazon brands are the worst at this, right? Like for the most part, like they just don't understand, like you have to learn how to generate demand for your product.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's why they're on Amazon, because they don't know how to generate demand. And so they pay a marketplace fee, and they are great. They are great at optimizing. Like there's a whole strategy around optimizing and ranking on Amazon. It's all about the ranking. It's not about generating demand, but that could be a whole show, because I do think we've seen some brands. Liquid Death is actually used to be, they were one of our clients for a long time, and they were one of the first ones that I saw. They used our subscription software, and I remember one day I went on their site and they were selling a case of Liquid Death for $19.99 on their site or $16.99 on Amazon. And I remember
interesting.
Thinking,
I remember hearing that.
Yeah. And I thought, well, that's completely backwards. Like usually like Amazon charges 15%, whatever, commission, and they should charge more on Amazon and give a deal for people who buy it on your site. But they took the opposite approach. They actually drove all their traffic to Amazon to create demand, or push demand there, I should say, not create demand, and then ranked high. And then eventually they captured position number 1. And I think now, like if you search like mineral water, they're like 1, 2, and 3. Now they own that, right? And so there is a whole strategy around that as well too. But I think you're right. By default, Amazon sellers don't think that way. Like creating that demand.
Most people are not thinking like that. Now, Momentous just recently did this with TikTok Shop. They were sending a ton of Facebook ads from Facebook over to TikTok Shop. I was like, what the heck are you doing?
Interesting. Yeah, it makes sense. Like,
Yeah.
There is enough content already in this episode that is worth $1 million to someone listening if they execute this. I just want to get to a couple more questions that I had because talking around products, if you have a range of products, is there a sweet spot? Maybe they can't be too cheap, like a $20 product doesn't have enough margin. And like, should a brand be thinking, can we save someone wasting their time if they have a $20 product? And does it have to be 100 and 150? Certain types of products, packaging. Do you create special packages for these creators that maybe aren't available on your website, and you can call them like the TikTok bundles or whatever?
Totally.
Tell me about what's a product strategy for this.
Yeah, so I've had this discussion with so many brands. So we've been lucky enough for TikTok to fly us out to a lot of like the sort of like brands that everyone kind of knows and uses all the time. And this is like legitimately the question that they're asking all the time. Like, where do we put this? Because a lot of people thought, well, TikTok Shop is just like these lower priced products, and that's not necessarily true. But also AOV is a really big deal. So so high AOV products generally are not going to work. If you've got a product over $100, I probably wouldn't test unless you've got a really decent testing budget.
Oh, interesting. Okay. There might have been a sweet spot higher because the margin's more, but that's not the case.
So we're in the midst of working with some pretty big high AOV brands right now, and we haven't quite got to launch yet, but just imagine what that seeding process looks like, right? So that becomes pretty expensive, right? Some like really big electronic companies you guys have probably all heard of, and trying to get those out to creators is a lot of money, right? Yeah. So I think that's the difficulty. So if you're sub $100, do it. We work with a brand that their AOV is around $80, sort of in the apparel space. They're doing multiple millions of dollars a month and very profitable with this channel. So it definitely can be done in that sort of higher, close to 100. I really recommend that brands get their AOV right around $50 if they can, if they're lower, right? So bundling strategies are really important. Now, what creators want is they want something that's special that people can't go buy anywhere else, because what they feel like is like, well, I'm putting in the work for nothing. And I don't want people, I talk about the halo effect all the time, right? People from TikTok going and purchasing on Amazon and D2C. I'm like, the halo effect is real. Creators don't like the halo effect because they don't get paid on the halo, right? And so that is the crux of the problem that you're trying to solve, is how do I create something specifically for TikTok that creators can trust me, that we're not just trying to get them to go off the platform afterwards. How do we do that? That's the really big thing.
Yeah, makes sense. Then is everything if you have a Shopify store, do the orders get pushed back into Shopify admin, or are you fulfilling them through a TikTok order management?
No, so they all get pushed back. So especially if you're on Shopify, obviously if you're watching.
That's our listeners.
1%. Yes, no, those will get pushed back in. So there's a couple of different connectors that you can use. So one is called Shop Dance. That's our recommendation. Aftership is another one though. So that is my recommendation, is always use a connector. Do not use the native Shopify connector. You need to use one of these connectors. Shop Dance is the best in my opinion. Okay.
And then once it pushes into Shopify, if you use any fulfillment service, it's just a regular order at that point.
Exactly. Now, multi-channel fulfillment is also a thing. So you can actually use like Amazon. You can use like some of your different warehouses to be able to do that, especially for bigger brands. That's a really good idea. I do not recommend using TikToks fulfilled by TikTok until you get to a substantial amount of volume and you can make it make sense. There's not really any reason to use it from TikTok's perspective right now.
Gotcha. And when would you tell a brand they're not ready to go on TikTok? Could you go on TikTok if you're just doing $10,000? I don't know, maybe that's way too low. But if you're a smaller brand on on Shopify, when would you say you're not ready for TikTok? You need to be at a certain scale. Obviously, budget matters, that you could put some ad spend behind it. But when would you say you're not ready yet, and why?
Under $1 million, don't do it. Don't do it. Just stay on annual revenue. Under $1 million annual revenue, don't do it. Just wait till I think under $1 million, you haven't hit product market fit yet in a substantial sort of way. Just keep doing what you're doing there, right? Now, if I were to launch a brand from scratch today, I would use TikTok Shop as the initial channel. I think that it's the cheapest way to get a ton of traction right away. And to get, this is something wild that big brands that we're working with are talking about. They're talking about getting rid of entire parts of their business that are in like the consumer psychology, the messaging, all of that, because our creators are doing it all, right? They don't need to do these like test groups because the creators are the ones doing the test groups. They're giving like, we'll get like 2,000 to 5,000 videos a month. Well, that's 2,000 to 5,000 different angles that we're getting on the product that people are like, oh, never saw that one. Interesting. Yeah. And you can see in real time how much people are actually reacting to that. So that's how I would launch a brand today, is like straight on TikTok Shop with D2C and Amazon already set up. I'd have all of them set up, but TikTok Shop as my like number one sort of channel. There's a great interview with the founder of NeuroGum recently, where he talked about moving the majority of all of his budget is on TikTok Shop now. And then he's basically just retargeting on other channels, and that's it. And this is like a 9-figure brand.
Well, have you seen people do just TikTok Shop to launch without an e-commerce store?
I have not yet done it with people, but I don't recommend it because you should have a Shopify store that it all runs through. Like use Shopify as your like centralized hub.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much of a cost to you having that store up there, especially for the Halo. I would hate for you not to have just a decent Shopify site there, but just know that like your everything engine can be TikTok Shop if you do it right.
Right. Makes sense. Jordan, this has been awesome. I know we're over time. You've been so gracious. Where can people find you? And I've attended some of your webinars and listened to some of your talks, and like, where do you want to send people? Because I think you are a wealth of information and we could probably talk for hours. But there's people right now that are like excited about this. They want to learn more. They want to get started with TikTok. Where do you want to send them?
So I think the best place for people is just on YouTube. You just search Jordan West e-commerce. I post a new video, if not 2, every single week on all of this. There's so much changing right now that I'm like constantly putting new stuff out there. So YouTube is great. And then LinkedIn is another great place. So, and then from there, you'll find my newsletter, and that's kind of where I announce all the like live sessions and stuff that I'm doing. Go check out Social Commerce Club, our agency.
Awesome. And I'll make sure all the links are in the show notes. Jordan, thank you so much. This has been so much fun.
This is fun. Thanks, Jay.